Welcome to Retrobot, the YouTube channel where we feed a friendly space robot a diet of pure nostalgia. Tonight we are going to be looking at what I consider to be probably one of the biggest fan favorites in the Transformers universe, huh? Am I right? Because he's big and he's a he's actually, yeah. I'm sorry that. And you know, it really depends on how you're looking at it as to how big you want to say that he is, because of course, if you look at the TV show, the cartoon, and the movie, he was ginormous, and if you look at the original toy, he was, you know, about yay. But he's big, he's green, he's mean, and he's not the Hulk. We're talking about Devastator. That's right, we've got a lot of Devastator, and here's the thing. There have been a number of attempts at Devastator over the years. So this is part one of the Devastator series, and we're going to talk about good old Gen 1 Devastator and some of the many knockoffs, and we've got some Gen 2 Constructicons mixed in there for effect. And then we're going to flash forward to 2003 so that we can look at the Transformers universe recolor of car robots Devastator, and that's probably going to be plenty of Devastator for one evening. And so before we go any further, I want to welcome everyone who's already here and in the chat. So a toast to Kyoji. Thank you for joining us, Kyoji. And thank you, Brick. A toast to Brick. Are you wearing yellow, Brick? Because we will follow you if you're wearing yellow. Because it's Brick Woad. Anyway, a toast to Brick. A toast to Joy. Always good to see you, Joy. Thank you for joining us on a Friday night. Machiavellic. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining us once again. And Collini, I love to see you, Collini, and we miss you. A toast to Collini. Of course, a toast to the lovely and talented Monica. No. You know what? I'm going to sit here and hold this drink until I get yays. Yeah, that's right. Now you have to search for yays. I'm putting you on the spot. Everybody. This is what happens when you don't have control of your own soundboard. And of course, a toast to Retrobot. Hey, Retro Buddy. No, this is not your coolant. It might be his coolant. I hope it's not, though, because that's toxic. So yeah, we are doing Devastator. Now, Devastator was originally one of the Diaclone designs that was brought over from Takara by Hasbro when they made Transformers for their second wave in 1985. And back then, the Diaclone. Boy, I have a hard time with the word Diaclone. I don't know why, but I have a hard time with the word Diaclone. And Nathan's here, and Brandon Spicer, so a toast to Nathan Fillion, and a toast to Brandon Spicer, and Nathan says that I got my hair cut. I didn't get my hair cut. I did this. I did this to myself this morning. My hair was driving me crazy, and so I just went down into the garage. It was kind of Tim Toolman Taylor's version of being a barber. I took a towel, put it around my neck. I had a wood clamp holding the towel on. And then I just sat on my stool and, you know, with one hand I kind of measured out with my finger, and with the other I snipped the hair, and then I had my trimmers to kind of get the sides and the back, and a little bit of neatening after I got back up into the bathroom where there was a mirror, and yeah, look at that. I'm really looking forward to being able to go back to my stylist and let her cut my hair, because cutting it myself is a pain in the butt. So anyway, Nathan, thank you. You know what? Keep that handy, because every time I start stuttering and stammering over the word Diaclone, that is what I want. Thank you. So let's have it one more time. Oh. A toast to Sean Shago. Howdy, Sean. Thank you for joining us. And Nathan Fillion, I think you disappeared last night after I made a Steelers reference. And that was for you. I said something about football. Just for you. And anyway, oh, Connie is here. A toast to Connie. So anyway, getting back to Diaclone. That's fun. The Diaclone version of the toys that would become Devastator were originally molded in yellow and orange, but when Hasbro brought them over, they obviously realized, hey, these are going to be bad guys. We can't have bright, happy oranges and yellows. We're doing purple and green. And I have to say that the purple and green has become probably one of the most iconic color schemes in the Transformers universe. It has been used over and over again. Pretty much any construction toy that is done in the Transformers world will inevitably get recolored in green and purple. And I have to say that when I was a kid, I was like, ew, why are they green? I've never seen a construction vehicle that was green. That doesn't make sense. And of course now it's like, oh yeah, it has. I mean, you know, a Constructicon that's not green just isn't a Constructicon. So you know, it's funny how things change when you get some years on your face and under your eyes and, you know, in your hairline. See, at some point I want to get tattoos, and I'm going to get, you know, the number 20, and then 30, and then 40, and then, you know, right here is getting close to 50. So, oh, Amanda is here. So, a toast to Amanda. Welcome. Good to see you. And Machiavellic says, not to mess with the topic, but can we talk about the G.I. Joe CS reveals today? I love the new Flint, and Lady J is wonderful in hair change. I'll be honest, I have not seen... Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I am now seeing the... I'm just going to turn the camera. I know this is ghetto when I do this, but I'm doing it anyway. So that is what we're talking about. And gosh, these look great. They really, really do. I mean, that... And I love that they've got them set up in dioramas, too. That's nice. Yeah, she looks great. And then there's Flint. Flint looks like Flint. You know, he's... I mean, let's face it. He's Flint. He's got a beret. He's the younger, more interesting version of Duke with a beret. So, and instead of having that love triangle thing with Scarlet and Snake Eyes, you know, both Duke and Scarlet were in love with Snake Eyes, and it got a little awkward there. But you know, Lady J and Flint, I mean, they were just, you know, they were like this. So, yeah, I think that it's funny because just earlier today I was watching a Toy Galaxy video talking about the most sought-after G.I. Joe select... something... Classified series, thank you. The G.I. Joe Classified series most wanted, and they were talking about how they're not including Flint and Lady J because they expect them to be announced soon, and then they were announced. So yeah, Toy Galaxy is awesome. Just in case you haven't checked out their videos, Toy Galaxy is really cool. So yeah, back to Diaclone. Thank you. So we have our Constructicon green Devastator, and we have one of the orange long hauls. And to be honest, I don't even remember exactly how I got Gen 2 Constructicons, because I don't have a Gen 2 Devastator complete. I have lots and lots of Devastator knockoffs. I have 2 original Gen 1 Devastators that are pretty much complete. And of course, I feel like Devastator, these 6 Constructicons are one of the most often knocked off toys in the entire Transformers library. I mean, of all of them, these are ones that I used to see again and again and again at like Big Lots back when they had cool knockoff toys. You see them online, you see them on Alibaba. I mean, and they're still making these toys. That's the funny thing about it. They are still, like, re-releasing these things every few years and being like, okay, now let's have this set for $150 because, look, it's that same set that you had when you were a kid. And I don't cotton to that. I don't know if you can hear that, but my air compressor is going off. I think it's because I left my cutting wheel hooked up, and so it's slowly going, and so now that's going to run for a few minutes and distract me slightly. No, don't worry about it. It's the first time that it's gone off, like, over the last 4 hours, so it's a slow leak. But nonetheless, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at these guys. I'm going to go ahead and, since everybody's seen these guys, and we are going to show them all in their glory, but I feel like seeing them in the other colors with Hasbro's quality rather than just being a straight knockoff is something that we don't get to appreciate very often. So here's Long Haul. Long Haul has long been possibly my favorite Constructicon. I love his robot mode. I love his transform. I think that he looks great. He's husky, he's distinctive, and so seeing him in the orange really works for me. And I like the orange and the purple. Now, obviously, it's hard to look at him and say, okay, orange long haul, when the Constructicons are very clearly green, but I have to say that it's a nice little toy. And his proportions are nice, and, you got sort of a knee thing happening here for whatever good that is, and, the usual lack of real articulation from the Gen 1 line, but nonetheless, he's a cool toy, and he's fun, so I don't mind having an extra long haul here, although there's not a whole lot for him to do, since he doesn't have a whole lot of his friends around. And then this is a Gen 2 Scavenger. And really, the easiest way to tell the difference between one of the knockoff Constructicons done by a third-party company that just copied the molds and the Hasbro version is that the Hasbro versions maintain the purple. Where a lot of these knockoffs just replaced everything with black, Hasbro still has the purple, and of course they still have the metal parts. Scavenger no, not this Scavenger. Actually, that Scavenger is my original Scavenger from when I was a child. But Scavenger was the first Constructicon that I ever owned. And I got him for Christmas one year. And admittedly, the thing that I liked most about him was that he was part of Devastator. His robot mode is just not that great. He's kind of awkward. His steam shovel is kind of awkward back kibble that ideally probably should like go up a little bit flatter against his back, but it doesn't. And instead what you do is you use it to give him a little bit more stability so that he can stand. And that's important because his feet aren't the best. So without that, he's liable to fall over. But he's not bad in the yellow. This is him. I like the sticker placement. His stickers are nice. I guess I don't know if I don't honestly. By the time that Generation 2 came out, I wasn't as attracted to the new colors of a lot of the toys, and I had the older versions. So I didn't really feel the need to buy a lot of Generation 2 Transformers, so I don't remember whether they already came with the stickers on them or if you had to put them on by hand. But whatever the case, if these were put on by hand, then somebody did a very nice job. They're very well placed. So, and that's true. I did change my mind a bit on the Gen 2 Dinobots, but that's only after 30 years. At the time that they came out, it was like, blue Grimlock, green Slag. Why would I want that? They're way cooler as steel and gold, which they were still gold. They just had colors and I will say that I would not trade Gen 2 Dinobots, or I would not trade Gen 1 Dinobots for Gen 2 Dinobots, but I'm glad to have my Gen 2 Dinobots because they are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, but that's just taking a moment to kind of see something that I don't really get to see a whole lot very often. So, but let's go ahead and put Scavenger off to the side here. Yeah, just stay there and don't fall over. Try not to fall over. And then you can see here in the background, we've got... So this is a third-party knockoff that has a Gen 2 hook at the top, and he wants to fall over. He's going to fall over, and he's going to knock over all the characters that I have precariously placed here. Yeah, he really wants to just fall over backwards. He does have some... So this one, I am somehow missing the piece that goes around the back of Hook that allows him to attach to Long Haul. So what I did was I did just a little bit of kit bashing, and he's mostly held together with the shield in the front. And then I took this other knockoff from a miniature knockoff version and added that and made it so that it just clips onto the top here, just so that I could show him. So that's not really how the knockoff version looks, but obviously the it's pretty much dead nuts the original molds. You know, look, it's the same geometry, it's the same combination of stuff. You can see that he's kind of coming apart here because, you know, missing pieces. There, we'll put that back on there, so that's good. So you're getting all the same play value, but the plastic is a lot cheaper. Some of my other knockoffs just fall apart in your hands. They, the quality on some of these varies wildly. Sometimes you get lucky and you get ones that are pretty much just like the Hasbro ones with a little bit of cheaper plastic and no chrome. But then there are other ones that I have gotten that I've got a bag of pieces. Like, the limbs just fall off. And those are usually the smaller scale ones, which, are we going to show the the bag of pieces? So let me set him down, because he really wants to fall over. So, yeah, this is just a bag. And mind you, these aren't like, oh, I took these apart to use for other projects. I mean, okay, I did use some of the pieces for other projects, but that was after they just fell apart. So yeah, that's the downside when you go to Big Lots and get a Devastator team for $10. But the upside is that you're not paying like 75 or 100 or 150 or whatever people are using for their scalper rates of these copies of the Gen 1 Devastator molds. Because, I mean, let's be honest. When we were kids, we loved Devastator. We couldn't wait to collect all 6. And whatever kid had all 6 was officially the coolest kid in class. But are they really that great? I mean, yeah, this is pretty awesome, but I don't want to pay like $70 for these. Each of these toys aren't worth over $10 a piece. There's just not enough there, and they don't do enough, and there are better versions of Devastator available if you want them. So yeah, that's that one. Let me go ahead and pull out another one. This one, okay, you can tell that things were getting kind of desperate here. So this is This is a scaled down knockoff, and he is an assemblage. Now the green one that I got, which you see here, is he's held together much better. I haven't been able to, some of his parts had, like, I do have the other thing here, but it has really tacky looking stickers, and I just don't like how they look. And then for some reason I don't have the cod piece for the green version, and it's molded in black, either black or purple. But also the stickers on them were just kind of ugly, so I put this on because I liked it better. And then the rest of it is just kind of put together from the pieces of the yellow one, which, there's a lot of those in this bag. And Colleen says, Clay, you were the coolest kid in class. Oh, Colleen, that is so sweet and so completely inaccurate. Let's just give a toast to Colleen for being so sweet and deluded about my coolness. Yes. Oh, and Mike Spicer is here. A toast to Michael Spicer. Ooh, that's tart. Yeah. So, once again, with these, it's very, very similar. However, you'll notice that there's a lot more hollowness. There's some fused pieces. They have simplified some of the geometry. But for the most part, it's just a scaled down version of Devastator. I don't know how things like this come into existence. I don't know if some engineer somewhere overseas many years ago took the original Diaclone versions and then just meticulously measured everything out and re-engineered it. I don't know how else you would do it, because everything is to scale, it's just smaller. And Thank you. So, and I would love to know how that happens. It seems like a lot of effort to copy a toy, but yeah, and this is where this is where I half expect Kyoji to, if you jump in and explain how that happens, because it seems like when I don't know something, you have the answer. So feel free to just tell me, Kyoji. We're all depending on you. Everybody, let's Kyoji. Close enough. So yeah, that is another just a cheap knockoff scaled down version of Devastator. I do miss being able to go into places like Big Lots and get these toys, like just as a blister pack. That was pretty cool, and you just can't do that now. They have kind of gone legit. They get crappy, cheap versions of Hasbro toys that are not usually worth the $10 that they want for them. So, yeah, I guess that was the deal. One of Hasbro's lawyers said, "Here, we'll give you a deal. Stop carrying this stuff, and we won't sue you. And oh, by the way, you can carry our officially licensed crappy versions of toys." Seems like a bad thing. And Go Andy Robo is here. And okay, now, so here's a toast to Go Andy Robo. And now that Go Andy Robo is here, I was only waiting for you, Go. I can let you know what tonight's secret word is, which I have actually already used this word quite a few times, so let's just go ahead and have an extra couple of... Yes. So there you go. When you hear me say this, that means that I need to have some more of that tart green liquid, and which means that I have to have some more of this tart green liquid, which means I have to have some more of this tart green... Okay, I'm gonna stop. Thank you, Mr. Spicer. Michael Spicer says that he likes my shirt and that it's awesome. I got this for the Halloween broadcast. It's got a Day of the Dead motif, so we got our skulls going. But I figured I don't really have a green one, so this is gonna be a long night. So that color, I'm almost to the end of this, shockingly. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, wait, I'm getting another word from my producer. Sean asks if you can give Soren a shout out. Again, I sure can. Howdy, Soren. And notice, see, this is a child-appropriate beverage. Howdy, Soren. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody say hi to Soren. So, Brick Woad says, with that secret word, better fill up with the Beast Wars Megs mug. That can be arranged. I'm not sure if we own enough booze for that, but anyway, we don't have that much Midori. So. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just take a look. Now, of course, I have already talked about the Constructicons in the past. One of the earlier live streams that we did when we decided that we wanted to do live streams was a live stream all about comparing the Constructicons here to the robots in to the GoBots Puzzler. And I'm just going to move some of these guys out of the way so that we can see everybody clearly, because things do get a little bit confused when you have that much green on the screen. And I said it again. So here, we'll move my Devastator that doesn't have chrome right there, and there we go. So here we go. And also Coley D is here. So a toast to Coley D, and I also have to I said the thing. So that's for Coley, and
Yes.
Okay, so let's just hope that I don't have to greet anybody anytime soon, because things are getting wiggy. All right, so there's things happening on the screen that don't matter. So I'm just letting you know that things are happening on the screen that are completely unimportant. Nonetheless, I am distracted by them momentarily. So, Kyoji says that the secret word reminds him of that bit in the Star Trek episode By Any Other Name when Scotty had to drink that 1 Kelvin under the table and pulls out a drink he can't quite identify. It has been so long. I vaguely remember that. And, but I love the original Star Trek series. And they did a slightly enhanced graphic version where they used new computer models for the space scenes, and it was really good because what they did, they didn't go like next generation with it. It was just subtly enhanced. It was just, a little bit more realistic, a little bit more animated than the original models, and it worked. So that was actually pretty cool. But nonetheless, that is neither here nor there. So here we go. We've got our original 6 Constructicons, and yes, Brick, they are holding their proper guns. I know you're really looking, and so let's go ahead and take a look at Scrapper. Now, in the Gen 1 cartoon, Scrapper was presented as the leader, and that's really that's really unusual, considering that in all the other combiners, the character that makes the head is the leader. Now, this is actually Brick's original version, and in Brick's headcanon, Hook was the leader because Hook was the head guy. I'm more easily influenced by my media, so I stuck with Scrapper being the leader. But nonetheless, he is the leader of the group. He turns into a payloader, which we can see right here. And here's something also. So there's this little tab right here. You see that little tab? Well, when I pull out the head, it allows the payloader shovel to go all the way back. And I guess the thought was you can have the payloader, so that it's not visible in his robot mode. I don't really like that. So you turn him into you put the head down, and now not only does that limit how high the shovel can go, but that's very important when he is being used as a foot, so that the shovel doesn't collapse. It's a unique feature, and I think it's cool that they did that, but ultimately I feel like it's completely unnecessary. They could have just left this as a single molded piece of plastic, and this is, having the shovel in that position in robot mode is fine. Having it back this far is kind of awkward anyway. So So yeah, but nonetheless, it's kind of cool that they did that. It shows that even for these smaller scale figures, the Diaclone engineers were really thinking a lot about this stuff, and they put a lot of quality into. Thank you for that. The Diaclone. They put a lot of. You know, here we're just gonna change this, and every time you hear the words Diaclone, then I have to drink the stuff. Christopher Remley is here, and oh, we've got a different color of stuff. So a toast to Christopher Remley. Yeah, that's got love in it. That's got love in it. So yeah. Oh, yes, Retrobot. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that I deserved anything, but well, thank you. I don't know what I'm getting. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm getting maple cookies. I'm getting maple cookies. Look, I got maple cookies. Thank you, Retrobot. I love you too. Here you go. Okay, I will take a maple cookie. Yeah, these we get these at Aldi, and they are delicious. Oh. So. All right, we don't have to fish out the letters for Diaclone yet. Those letters are a pain to put in. It would take way too long to do that gag. But nonetheless, let's go back and let's take a look at Scrapper here. So you put the steam shovel down, you flip around, and look at that. He is a payloader, and he looks very payloadery. He's got his rub sign, which is still working. Look at that. That's really cool. And he looks good. He doesn't have a hole to put his pistol, and so yeah, you can do that, but then it drags on the ground. Now he was packaged with the super wing, and it has a couple little holes here that line up with these pegs right here, and so you can do that, and then you can take this out and put it in there, and then do that, and that way he's got all of his bits together. I guess this is like a flying payloader. Either that or these are just guns. Oh, yeah, he didn't really fly, but nonetheless, so that is his attack mode, and I mean, as smaller Transformers go, being almost entirely plastic, he's fine, and he looks good. He's functional, but it's small, and that's how I felt when I was a kid. You know, they are small. They are the same size as the mini Autobots, except they're not super deformed. And I will say thank you to Kara for not having, for these not being super deformed. Since, well, I guess the super deformed Autobots weren't even from Diaclone. Those were from Microchange, I think. So I think those were from Microchange. I think they're supposed to represent toy cars that turned into robots, but when Hasbro imported them, they just treated them like cars. So you need to say Microchange in the Microchange. So yes, I'm a good cookie. I got a cookie for saying Microchange. So, let me, actually, I'm going to take this little pistol, I'm going to set it aside, because I've managed to hold on to it for 30 years. I don't want to lose it at this point. So there you go. You have Scrapper in his attack mode. Let's go ahead and move on to Scavenger, who we've already seen in yellow. This is him in his Constructicon color. He's now it's funny because my original, I remember he had a black gun. But I even checked the instructions, and this is the correct gun. I think that they were molded in a couple of colors. Nonetheless, this is that's one of them. And to turn him, you just they're not really breaking any laws of physics here. Now, one thing that I do like is they incorporated the swivel of the steam shovel into the transform, and that's really cool. And of course, it gives Devastator the ability to pivot his arms. So that's nice. Got some awkward sticker placement, but other than that, he looks good. He's got a little bit more metal on him, just a little bit, and he is fully functional. He came with one of the forearms. And then it had a drill bit, which I didn't pull out the drill bits. I should have pulled out the drill bits. I didn't pull out the drill bits. Even when I was a kid, the drill bits sat in a parts bin because these were used pretty much for the arms. Yeah, I very rarely actually used the attack versions, but I appreciate that the attack versions are here. If they're gonna have extra bits, at least incorporating the bits into the vehicle modes and allowing them to do something when they're not part of Devastator makes it a little bit more bearable. It turns it into a little, certainly it's a bit of a parts former, but at least at that point, it's a part former with multifunctionality rather than just having a pile of parts that do nothing else other than be robot parts. And chat is shouting out about Scrapper's voice actor, Michael Bell, who also voiced Sideswipe and Prowl and Swoop on Transformers, Quackerjack on Darkwing Duck, Drew Pickles on Rugrats, and Duke and Major Blood on G.I. Joe. I can absolutely see Scrapper and Major Blood. You know what? Especially those two. They sound exactly like each other. So, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It's funny how these voice actors did everybody. So let's just pull out a toast to the chat for very astute observation and some education about the unsung heroes of the Transformers cartoon world, all of our cartoon worlds, the voice actors. And a toast to Michael Bell, who is freaking amazing. Here's Major Blood in your eye. See what I did there? I said, here's blood in your eye, because Major Blood, I'm sorry. I got a cookie. My cookie is starting to explode because I've been taking small bites. I guess you're not supposed to take small bites. You're just supposed to kind of stuff it in and be like, ah, rah, 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 rah. So, that is Scavenger in his attack mode minus the drill bit. And then we have Hook, the Brickwood de facto leader of the Constructicons. And I always thought that he was interesting because the way that he transforms to combine with the other Constructicons is really, really neat. And I always thought, I thought that whole kind of splitting and then swiveling thing was really dynamic and made for a really interesting robot mode. Of course, when it's kind of a little bit floppy, it means that his midsection kind of drops off a lot. And the transform in the robot mode, you know, from robot to vehicle, is not all that interesting. You know, once again, we're just gonna fold the arms in, and we're gonna fold around the feet, and yeah, you do have to deal with that slip joint. Oh, there we go. Go together there, Hook. There you go. And so now, once again, they have provided us with a working boom, and they've got the swivel point joint, and they didn't have to do this. You know, they could have just left it fused. They could have left this like this. They could have absolutely made this a lot simpler. But as boom trucks go, he's really, really cool. He's got a lot of playworthiness, even though he's just a tiny little guy. And so, you know, Hook, I always liked Hook. And this is a nice toy. He looks great with his chrome. And, of course, he was packaged with the head and the ear blaster, which I don't think you're supposed to leave the blaster in the combined mode, but I always did, and every picture that I see of him has it there. But if you notice in the cartoon, it's not there. I think that the ear blaster is really only there to facilitate this piece being some kind of an attack mode apparatus. Because, you know, this doesn't really do anything else. His head doesn't look like anything other than, well, just kind of it's kind of just a head that's folded down. At least you're not looking at the face, and it's got a blaster. If it didn't have the blaster, it would just be a head. So yeah. And so that is his attack mode, and he looks great. Hook always seemed kind of fragile. Certainly, I got my friend Joe's Hook, and his legs were broken off. So he must be Italian? Fragile? Really? Is that where we're going? Fragile? Okay, well, we're keeping it classy here on Retrobot. A toast to a Christmas story for words like fragile. So Go Andy Robo says, I have to say, seeing you go over these guys again kind of gives me a new appreciation for the detail of this set. Thank you. You know, I loved these guys when I was a kid. And especially now as an industrial designer, and being able to look at everything that went into them, and also knowing that they didn't have SolidWorks to design these things on back then. So they were just really good at math. And I'm not trying to be racist there. They just were really good at math. So yeah, and I love the fact that they did think far enough into these to say, hey, can we take these extra pieces and do something with them in the vehicle modes? I wish that the extra pieces would have done something in the robot modes. You know, once they transform into robot modes, there's really not a whole lot for a lot of these extra pieces to do. You can sometimes get away with, you know, figuring out some stuff, but it doesn't lend itself well. So, nonetheless, that is Hook. And now let's get to Long Haul. We, of course, were looking at Orange Long Haul earlier. And let's just take out his gun. And, you know, I love Long Haul. He's just a cool looking guy. He's got a great robot mode. And he was always fun on the show because he was the one that, he was just the guy that got to carry everything. And they would be like, Long Haul, pick this up. And you're like, load this, carry that. I want to build something. And you know, that's, he had personality amongst a group that okay, Hook was a snob, and Scrapper was was your typical grumpy boss. The Mixmaster was just kind of weird. He had kind of a stuttery speech, and he would, I guess he was sort of the mad scientist of the group, since he was the chemist. And then you had Bone Crusher. I don't remember a single thing that Bone Crusher ever said during the series. I'm sure that he said stuff. I just don't remember a single one of his lines. And the only thing that I really remember of Scavenger is in the intro episode of the cartoon, he used his shovel to say, Teletran 1 is right on the other side of this wall. And that's all we really got of Scavenger. But Long Haul, he actually got speaking roles. Not a lot of them, but in the group he did kind of stand out. And so you want to turn him into a truck. So we'll flip in the fists. And see, there's even more to his transform than the other guys. You've got the folding in of the fists, and then sliding in the arms, flip down the head, pivot the body upwards, like that, and then fold around the legs. And he makes a great looking truck. And he's got room in his pail here, so you can put some of the other pieces. And now, granted, it doesn't quite work the way that it would in real life, but you can even do a dumping maneuver. I just imagine that the wheels don't come up with the pail, but still, it works like a dump truck. And that's cool. That is just, I really, really like that. And then he came with this piece. And of course, when he's Devastator, this plugs in down here. But for this, they added these two little rectangular holes that go onto those studs. And then you can even take that cod piece and just put it right there. And so now he's got these two blasters. Oh, okay. So we got... There, we've now got the drill bit piece. It was bugging you that we didn't have the drill bit piece. So there we go. We got a drill bit piece. And you know what? If I saw this truck driving down the road, taking up 4 lanes of traffic, and it had these big guns hanging off the side of it, I'd run. Okay, admittedly, I'd be the idiot that's like hiding behind a fern and feeling like it's safe enough to watch what happens, and then I die because he'd blow me up. But for the moments as I'm looking through that fern, there would be happiness, and then there would be So, yeah, that is Long Haul in his attack mode, and he's cool. He's just cool. I love the knobby tires. I love that they've got double tires on the back. Look at that. Okay, that's something that they don't do a lot of. Like, even now, you see them using like little skinny half wheels and stuff. These guys, it's like, well, he's a big truck. He'd have a dual axle. He'd have like an extra set of tires. We're putting them on there. Okay, they were dedicated to the authenticity here, and it shows, and it looks great. It just looks great. So yeah. Let's set him aside here. And Kyoji is helping us with the voice actors. I see that Long Haul was voiced by Greg Berger, who also voiced Grimlock, Skyfire, and Outback. So a toast to Greg Berger and a toast to Kyoji for keeping us educated. And why am I showing that screen? I'm supposed to show this screen. So a toast to Kyoji and a toast to Greg Berger. So moving on, we have Bone Crusher, and I love Bone Crusher. If there is a Constructicon that I like better than Long Haul, because I have to say, I always loved Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher, to me, has the most interesting transform, and it's really all because of that shovel. You know, the shovel on the chest is what makes the difference. He's distinctive, and you know, it's funny because, like I said, I don't remember any of his lines from the show. He's not a character that has really gotten showcased much, but nonetheless, as a toy, he has a good robot mode. Now, you do have a little bit of kind of a thing going on with his arms. I never looked at that as being his forearms sticking out. I always felt like he just had wide shoulders and short arms. And considering how many Transformers had no elbow joints, I think that that is completely acceptable to say, yeah, those are shoulders, not elbows. So you know, he's got some articulation. I mean, he can actually move his arms out. How many Transformers can do that? Not many from 1985, let me tell you. And you know, he's got the feet that actually look like feet. When I was a kid, it always bugged me when they would split the turrets, but I had to get over it because just about every tank or bulldozer type Transformer that had any kind of treads usually ended up splitting the treads. And it bugged me because I was thinking, you know, they would fall off. If you split them, they'll fall off. And, you know, now I think, you know, they would have been able to figure it out. They could have magnetized the wheels. Each link could have been a wirelessly controlled part that would sync depending on where it was positioned and either clamp on or magnetically clamp on so it didn't fall apart. There's all sorts of ways that they could have done it. And when I was a kid, I know this comes as a shock. Is everybody sitting down? But when I was a kid, I might have been taking this just a little bit too literally. I know you're surprised, but it's true. But I'm feeling much better now. So, there we go. That's Bone Crusher. Let's go ahead and let's turn him into a bulldozer. And so we're going to flip up the head here. We're going to straighten out the arms. We already folded in the feet. I'm going to take the canopy here and rotate it around. Put the treads up here. Put the shovel in the front. Rotate the arms. And then swing them around. And see, he's got a really nice transformation sequence too. That's a great sequence of moves. It's really distinctive. He is, more than any other Constructicon, he has the most interesting transform of all of them by far. And he looks great in his bulldozer mode. The shovel even pivots so it can dig into the ground and be like... And so that is really cool. He's got his attack mode, which is another fist thing. And if we want to borrow the drill bit, you know, then it does that. And the nice thing is that the canopy fits right over this little elbow joint right there. So that's pretty cool. And so he looks good. Oh, Go-Go Andy Robo has to leave. Oh, that's a shame. Well, everybody say bye to Go-Go Andy Robo. A toast to Go-Go Andy Robo. So have a good night, Go-Go Andy. All right, so that's 5 out of 6 Constructicons. Let's go to Mixmaster. This is Mixmaster. He actually comes with a little double missile that plugs into the head here. The Takara version probably fired, but the Hasbro version just has a little clip that holds it in place. And I didn't pull that out. I just didn't.
He also comes with Devastator's gun. It has a 2-diameter shaft so that Mixmaster can hold it, or any of the Constructicons really, and Devastator can hold it. And then he also comes with a pistol. I'm just going to say that Mixmaster was my least favorite Constructicon. His robot mode, I mean, you know, the feet are bad. This whole thing down here always felt hollow. It always was kind of floppy. And the way that he transforms is that, and then that. Not exactly setting the world on fire. He's got a decent cement mixer mode, and cement mixers are cool. The mixing drum on the back does not bother me. I always liked that. It's just a very, very simple transform, and not a real impressive robot mode. Now, that being said, he transforms into a fantastic foot. So, you know, he does get some points for that. Also, unlike a lot of the other Constructicons, he has a hole where you can put the pistol. And I wish that more of them had that. You know, that's a nice feature, being able to add the hand weapons in vehicle mode. Now, that's something that you get all the time these days, but for one of these small-scale figures, that's a nice touch. So his attack mode is very, very simple. It's a cement mixer with a gun, but it's a big gun, and it also has a laser pistol on the roof. So that's pretty good. So let's just go ahead. We got our whole group here, but of course, the reason why we all love Devastator is because of Devastator. Oh, and I forgot one. Of course. Okay, you know, I did forget. There is one other Constructicon that. We've got 2 of this gun. So yeah, let me. So there is one other Constructicon that we really have to mention here, and that is Prowl. For fans of the IDW comic series, they had a lot of fun, and I have to say that this is one of the most interesting things that I've ever seen done in a Transformers comic book. So there was a storyline where Prowl was being controlled by a Cerebro shell, and he was being evil and manipulative behind the scenes, and the funny thing was, nobody could tell. Because he's such a dick that everybody thought he was just being Prowl. And I'm not even making that up. It was one of the things that later in the series, Prowl reflects on how unsettling it is that he's doing all this horrible stuff and nobody thought it was out of character. It kind of made him pause. For a character that does not pause ever, that was nice. You know, that's one of the things I love about the IDW comics series. Here's the other thing. The Constructicons loved Prowl. They merged with him. Prowl became the head. Essentially, Hook became a leg, and Prowl became the head. The Devastator had a Prowl-like crest on his head, and that was how Devastator was for quite a while in the comic book. Scrapper was dead at that point in the series, later to be replaced by the Autobot Scoop, painted Constructicon green. So, you know. But, yeah, and I do, at some point, I do want to kit bash one of my Devastator sets
to incorporate a Prowl, but it's not one of the Gen 1s. I have another one that I will be showing in a later Constructicon Devastator live stream, and we can talk about it. And hopefully I get to do it. You know, it's one of those things that that requires time. And I keep using my time on other things, like kit bashing other toys. So let's go ahead and let's do what we've wanted to do. Because it's all well and good to be showing Constructicons, but you know what you want. You want Devastator. I want Devastator. This is what all of us wanted when we were kids. It wasn't about having any of the individual Constructicons. You wanted Devastator. That's why you were buying. That's why you collected. If you only had some of the Constructicons, it was like, yes, that's right, Dudley. So Dudley says, So let's go ahead. I will once again.
Activate interlock. Dynatherms connected. Infracells up. Mega thrusters are go. Go. Voltron force.
So I will say that Mixmaster may be my least favorite Constructicon, but he's a great foot. And this is something... Alright, I know I do this every time, and I swear that I won't, but just for a minute. Everybody just back away for a moment. Hasbro. It won't be bad. It won't be bad. I'm not going to yell at you, but I'm just going to say, look, it's a dedicated foot. It's a guy who turns into just a foot. And it looks good, and it functions well, and then here we've got, okay, now I've never been really a fan of all the hollowness here, but nonetheless, that is distinctly foot-shaped, and it's very stable, and it makes Devastator a better combiner. I know that the Scramble City thing was all about interchanging different limbs and stuff like that, but I'm just going to throw out that you could do a combiner that has dedicated limbs that do a good job of turning into the limb that they represent without needing an extra foot plate or even a fist. You know, if you... I'm just throwing it out. You can do it. I think you can do it. I believe in you.
The Transformers.
So, anyway, going back to... We've got these guys, and then we've got... That just fits into there. That fits into there. This fits into there. We'll take that off. Fold him around. And I always loved that move. I know I said that before, but that is just really cool. The way that works. There has always been a little bit of an engineering flaw in this design, because you see how the chest plate attaches here. Well, the chest plate goes on here, and it clips on pretty securely, and then there's this tab right here. This tab is supposed to go into that slot, but when you line everything up, you put the head on, and when you line everything up, look at that. It doesn't reach. It doesn't even come close to reaching. And that is not a case of, oh, Clay just didn't put it together correctly. It never has. That's actually why when I had my little version that was missing that Clampiani piece, I adjusted it so that it could plug in to that little hole and take advantage of that feature that never worked in the original. So, those really, really smart engineers at Takara,
They missed one. It's all right. You know, they made 6 construction vehicles that are all in scale with each other, that turn into robots that are all in scale with each other, that have attack modes, vehicle modes, robot modes, and extra weapons that all combine into a pretty good looking robot. I'm gonna give you a pass on the chest plate. It's okay. It's okay. So Kyoji says, Han Solo. No. This one goes there. That one goes there, right? Oh! So that's my Chewbacca yell. I know it's not very good. I apologize. That was more of a Tusken Raider. You know, Chewbacca, Tusken Raider, tomato. Oh, no. Because everybody knows that Tusken Raiders are animals. And we slaughter them like animals. And not just the men. The women and the children, too. I want my mommy. Oh, sorry. I was having a episode 2 moment. Was that episode 2? Yeah. Oh gosh, so bad. Such a bad movie. Oh, it was bad. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we're getting close here. So we got Scavenger, and we're going to pull out, he's got this little tab right on his chest there, and we're going to put on, now I will say that even when I was a kid, it bugged me that he doesn't transform into an arm. He transforms into a bicep. Now, granted, he looks great as an arm, and, you know, as I pointed out, that, you know, being able to have an elbow, that's awesome. You know, that's something that combiners just didn't get until, you know, you wouldn't get a combiner that actually had an elbow until Predaking after this. So yeah, you gotta kind of love the arm and the fact that it was articulated, and it's well articulated. The pivot point here doesn't get impeded by the chest plate, and so that's really, really good. Now, here's where things... Okay, so we've got Bone Crusher, arguably my favorite Constructicon, and we're going to get... There we go. And so you don't really do any transforming to turn him into an arm. You just take the bicep here. And here is another design flaw. The elbow is attaching here on the underside of the bulldozer, making it come down even with this tread. On this side, the elbow is even with the vehicle. The tread is part of the chest. On this side, you have this little metal tab, and it plugs into this circular joint here. And so this is just a little bit of a design flaw, and every time I see it, it bugs me, and it makes me want to fix it, but I don't feel like it's worth it to fix it, and I'd be messing with a Gen 1 classic that at this point there are better versions to spend my time on. But here's what I'm talking about. So now this arm, when it pivots, it can't clear the chest plate. And also you have this arm that's really close to the side, and this arm that's hanging out on the end. And that's just... It's a little lopsided. And after I noticed that, it has bugged me ever since. The other thing that I don't understand, why were these treads cast in green? I know I said it. Okay, so here I'm gonna preemptively drink a couple of times because I'm gonna be saying the word green here a bunch. That's... Oh, I've already got a refill. That's good. So
So they're obviously creating a symmetry here, having the treads on this side and the treads on this side. And it looks great. I love that about Devastator. He's asymmetrical, but he's got repeated design elements that make his combined form look more uniform. And I think that makes him a great looking super robot. But I don't understand why they wouldn't just do these treads in purple to match these treads. Obviously, they were willing to do it for this character. Why not for this one? And I don't have the answer to that. Even in, I think, the newest Generations version, they stuck with the original color scheme. Obviously, they're going for the nostalgia factor of, look, it's the Constructicons you had when you were a kid, except what you actually wanted. And that's where I'm gonna. So we need to talk about this. And this is something that I touched on in the Puzzler live stream. As cool as this toy is, the combined form is what, like 10, 12 inches tall? Yes. Yeah, you know what? Wait, Dudley wants to be on the internet. So I hope people don't mind, but Dudley, come here. Come on. There we go. There we go. And here's Dudley. Hi, Dudders. Yeah. Sweet kitty. He's like, stop looking at your camera. I want on your lap. Oh, sweet kitty. I love you. Yeah, I love you. There you go. Is that better? Is that better? So, alright. So, Dudley is now situated. And, oh, he was looking up for a second there, but as soon as I moved the camera, he looked down. So Dudley's not going to say hi to everybody, but he wanted to be included. So you've got Devastator here, and in his combined form, he's maybe that much taller than Optimus Prime. Yet on the cartoon, he towers over everybody. And he's about the same size as Jetfire, which I know Jetfire was not even Diaclone. He was, everything else. So, so he kind of got used for a lot. But yeah, that toy got a lot of fanfare. So, you have this super robot that's supposed to be a super robot that is just towering over everybody else, and he's little. He's just not that big because he's made up of little guys that are just made of, he's not, I see you typing. Am I supposed to look? Oh, Tim Kangaroo is here. Okay. A toast to Tim Kangaroo. Thank you for dropping by. It's tart. And so as much as I love Devastator, Devastator has always left me wanting more. I got this toy when I was a kid, and I was so excited to have him, but even when I was a kid, I wished that he was less of I know it's ironic, but less of a construction kit and more of a transformer, that you didn't need all these extra pieces just to be able to put them together. And I wanted him to be made of bigger guys so the combined form was bigger. And it would be a long, long, long time before I would get the Devastator that I really wanted. In the meantime, we got others. Here, let me set this down. That's the perfect place for a segue, and so we are segueing because this is the next Devastator toy that would be released. That's right. This is Action Master Devastator. I'm just going to let you soak it in for a second. We got this one on eBay. He was not a lot of money, and and we probably still paid too much. But, you know, somebody has to ship it. He's dinky. He is exactly the size, the height. Yeah. So, so yeah, he's tiny. He's got a giant noggin. The detail is abysmal. You know, even the other Action Masters looked better than he does. He's got a few, you can see that there's a few details in there that sort of look like elements of Devastator, but so generalized. I mean, what the hell did they do to Scrapper there? And yeah, he's got a giant head that doesn't even look like Devastator's head. That's the thing. It normal, you know, at least when you had Action Master Bumblebee looked like the cartoon. This guy doesn't look like anything. And I did not get him when I was a kid because, I mean, honestly, why? Why does, what was, I want to understand, I don't understand why this even exists. Like, Devastator was not an interesting character. It's not like there were long soliloquies of intellectual and gut-wrenching dialogue coming from Devastator in his combined mode. He was Devastator Smash. It really was very much the Transformers equivalent of the Hulk. You start out with brilliant engineering minds and you put them together and they transform into a giant green behemoth that smash everything. So,
wow, this is amazing! And bad, very bad.
Except this is not amazing. It's just bad. Very, very bad. I'm trying to get it to there we go. I mean, so I understand Entrapta would like it because he's tiny. I feel like Entrapta has better taste than that. She does like tiny things, but this doesn't even look like Devastator. And without the detail and without a personality to go with it of any value, I don't know of anybody that wanted this. I bought pretty much every Action Master piece of crap that they rolled out, and I didn't even want this. So why? What were you think? I mean, if there is a Hasbro designer out there, or you know, somebody who is working for Hasbro at the time, I want to know how did this happen? Explain yourself. I feel like we all want to know, and it's okay. It's over now, but I just want to know who decided that this was a good idea. So that is the other Gen 1 Devastator. This probably would have been around 1988. That's what I'm thinking. There might even be a copyright stamp. Let's see. Yeah, I see a... Wait a minute. I can't read it. Let me get my trusty bifocals. No, I'm not wearing these for comedic effect. They really do work. Let me see. Hasbro 19... Is that copyright 1990? Takara 1990. Okay. So, yeah. 1990. They made a Super 7 reanimation Devastator that's actually big. Oh, a reaction. Reanimator is different, admittedly. That's funny. It's better than this one, but you know what? I'm not really digging the reaction figures. I mean, they're okay. They're okay, but my problem with a lot of these action figure versions of Transformers characters is that at this point, the Transformers toys that we get are already fully posable action figures. You know, back at the time of Action Masters, most Transformers had a stiff body, and very oftentimes you didn't even get knee joints or any kind of leg articulation unless it was a happenstance of the transform. So to get a G.I. Joe style figure that had leg articulation and knee joints, you know, and the fact that these were only a couple of bucks a piece, they didn't have elbow joints. I know. They're action figures, but not... Yeah, it was... Okay, we're going to do action figures, but we're going to do that as cheaply as we can, too. So yeah, not great action figures, but at least more posable than the other versions. But now, the toys that we get that transform are already fully articulated. So I just don't see the desire. I just don't have the desire. I guess if you just like them, you know, if you just like them, like the characters, you're not interested in complex transforming, and you just like the characters, and you think they're cute, or you just like the aesthetic, you like the cartoon look, whatever, then, you know, you do you. I'm not judging, but for me, I just don't take an interest in a lot of those things, because it's like, you know what, I have the transforming versions. And they really look a lot like their animated counterparts. They look like they stepped right out of the G1 cartoon, and that's true. They absolutely look very cartoony. And once again, I think that's a personal preference thing, because when I see a character that looks like this, but he's got full articulation, then that to me is like the ultimate. You know, it's because the cartoons are... You know, they're always simplified, and you know, you lose that detail. But when you've got the intricate mechanical detail that's molded in, and then it also has the ability to get into cool poses and do stuff like that, then it's just like win-win-win. But that is just me. So, you know, if any of you were to say, hey, you know what, I have all of the reaction stuff and I love them, I you know what, that's awesome, and I mean that sincerely. So I'm just gonna show a shout out, a toast to reaction and making more stuff that people love. Ooh. That is tart. Tart. I believe the word is sour. It is very, very sour. So that is Gen 1 Devastator. Generation 1 Devastator, both of them. And let's just go ahead. I'm going to kind of move some things around here. I'm going to put my Gen 1 Devastator back out of the way, because now we are going to get to the oh, thank you. So we're getting a little bit of something to take away some of the. And let me just set up my camera here, because we got more guys. We are moving on, and this is a pretty significant jump forward. Now, there were other construction toys that would be made to combine in the Transformers universe in Generation 1. Specifically, they had a Micromaster set of combining construction vehicles. I don't think I even saw them in the stores when I was a kid, and I wasn't really interested in the Micromaster combiners. Because, as I mentioned before, one of my biggest gripes about Devastator was that he was made of tiny robots, so he wasn't that big. So the idea of tinier robots that combined and also used even more pieces and bigger pieces in order to combine, I didn't care. Just didn't care. Didn't. If I had seen it, I ignored it. But I don't even remember seeing it. Maybe I saw it, and it just made such little impression on my young mind that I didn't even pay attention. But yeah, wasn't interested in that. So instead, we would have to wait. Because we of course didn't have construction vehicles during the Beast Wars era. Transformers Generation 2 had the yellow and orange Constructicons, but it was the same toy, so it had all of the same problems except without a cohesive color scheme. And at that point, the green and purple was iconic. They're not improved in yellow or green, even though those are more traditional construction vehicle colors. So it would not be until after Beast Wars when we get into the car robots era and we get the build team as a construction set, and they formed into Landfill. Now, I believe that was right around 2000. Yeah, maybe 2001 that car robots came out. And then in 2003, we would have a repaint of Landfill done as these guys turn into a Transformers Universe Devastator. And there was a story for the Transformers Collectors Club, I think it was, where these guys were, this is, as far as their story goes, this is the Robots in Disguise build team that has been captured by Unicron, taken through time and space, and then reprogrammed by the Robo Smasher as an homage to the Gen 1 cartoon episode where you discover that the Constructicons had once been friends to Omega Supreme. So you could amalgamate that together and imagine that maybe the Constructicons were yellow and orange construction vehicles before Megatron got his grubby mechanical mitts on them and reprogrammed them to be evil. But nonetheless, that is exactly what happened with these guys, and 3 out of 4 of them got new names. So Grimlock was renamed Scavenger. Wedge was renamed Bone Crusher. I always wondered about Bone Crusher's name because Transformers don't have bones. They don't have bones. Like, if he were called Stone Crusher, because he's a bulldozer, that would make sense. But he's called Bone Crusher. And I guess they, Pax Cybertronia, they obviously traveled to other worlds and took them over, or at least fought with them. They would have encountered organics, so I guess he crushed bones on other planets. But Transformers don't have bones. Anyway, so and then we have Long Haul and Hightower. Hightower did not get a new name. Possibly, I'm guessing that Hook was not trademarkable, or they had lost the trademark. At that point, you still didn't see a whole lot of taking their trademarked name that they didn't have the rights to and adding the word Decepticon or Constructicon to it as much. They did start doing that around that era, but I think that it was a little bit later on that you started seeing that done more often. Nonetheless, I'm guessing for trademark reasons, Hightower stayed Hightower instead of becoming Hook. But they are in their Constructicon green. I knew I was going to say it. So that's a little better. Yeah. Okay. Except for Scavenger, aka Grimlock, who for some reason is mostly purple. I don't really understand that. You've got a cohesive thing, and he doesn't look bad, but I just don't understand why 3 out of 4 guys get this hue, and then this guy gets mostly this other hue. But nonetheless, I'm kind of a fan of the build team, but it's another one of those sets that there's so much potential. There's so much potential, and then they do things that I don't understand. Why? Why do they do things I don't understand? Let's see. By the way, we have decided to have a virtual princess prom from She-Ra live stream maybe in January. It was Joy's idea. Oh, okay. I'll do a virtual princess prom. I'm not wearing a gown, though. Tux. Definitely a tux. So, okay. We are doing a virtual princess prom sometime in January. Maybe She-Ra, maybe ponies. We'll figure it out. But yes, that's going to happen. We're doing a virtual princess prom. Wait a minute. Yeah, hold on. Hey, honey. Yeah, I saw you in study hall, and I thought it was really cool the way you read that book. So the prom is coming up, and I was just I was just kind of wondering if you wanted to go to the, if you were are you planning on do you like proms? Cause they're having one, and I was thinking of going. My sister can drive me, and if you were going, I could go to. Do you want to go to the prom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The answer I wanted, but not how I expected it. So, okay, so that is happening. We're going to the prom. And we're gonna sneak booze into the prom this year. So we have the build team, and there's so much that I like about this set. So let's start there. Let us start with Bone Crusher, aka Wedge. He's an anomaly because this is another case where the leader of the group is also the smallest member of the group. I don't know if Bone Crusher in this instance would be considered the leader of the group. I'm assuming that he would, even though Bone Crusher never really had that kind of a role before. But I'm willing to embellish. His face looks like Megatron, though. Is it just me, or does he give off a real Megatron vibe? He kind of looks very Megatron-y. I didn't know that Wedge, when he turned evil, turned into Megatron. Except calls himself Bone Crusher. Nonetheless, he's a great little figure. I like this figure. This is actually kind of an unnecessary part, but it does enhance his vehicle mode, and it enhances the combined mode, and they made it turn into a double-barreled blaster. But yeah, he's got knee joints and he's got hip joints. And see, you remember what I said about Scavenger falling over easy? Yeah, he's drunk. So Scavenger, here, pal, sleep it off over here. There we go. So, I'm getting messages. The camera went crazy for a sec. Is it? Huh. Oh, you know what? I might have bumped it. So I might have bumped it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that was just me. So anyway, here we've got Bone Crusher. He's got knee joints. He's got hip joints. Now he is actually still about the same size as a normal Constructicon or an Action Master, except notice he's got elbow joints in addition to hip and knee joints. So look, Hasbro, you can make action figures that transform. So yeah, don't do this. Just that's bad. So you know, he's got a pivoting waist. He's a little bit boxy at top, and he's got these large shovel things on his shoulders. But I like him, and I like the way that he looks. Yeah, the exaggerated shovels, sure, they're kind of ridiculous and oversized, but it also gives him a lot of character. Now, he doesn't stand up easily. Because of the way he transforms, he really needs some heel back here. And you can see there's just no heel. There's a little bit, that would be his heel, but if you see, it's not nearly as far back, so his center of gravity really makes him want to fall backwards. So that's one of the downsides. But since he is posable, you can kind of do things to get him into positions where he will balance himself and, you know, do stuff like that. So there he is. And he's, you know, he stands in a dynamic pose. It's like, ooh, I'm gonna run, and I'm gonna, ooh, you are so gonna get it. So let's see. Machiavellic asks, why isn't Hightower Grimlock green? Is he purple or black or something? And yes, was that just a trick? Okay, here we go. And yes, that's what I was talking about. Why is he this color? Why did they not reverse the little accents of color A here and make those the big color B out here, and then put the dark color out here and make those I don't understand. I just don't understand. I'm right there with you, Machiavellic. I don't. But we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about him. I'm saving him for a reason. So yeah, let's just set Scavenger aside, and we'll look at Wedge / Bone Crusher, whatever the heck his name is. But nonetheless, you know, almost Megatron. He's minor Megatron. Megatron when he was a minor before, not Minortron. He's not Minortron. But Megatron before he became a gladiator, he worked in the mines, at least according to the IDW comics, and that's when he learned about the inequality of the functionist system. So getting there was some serious political stuff happening in the pages of Transformers in IDW. There actually still is. They've still got comics. So and they're good. They are good. But nonetheless. Anyway, so let's go ahead and let's turn Wedge into a bulldozer. And so we got this little door in the back, and you can even see the Devastator face there. And we'll just flip his head there and close the door. And now we're going to take the legs and we're going to turn them this way, and we can flip the feet down. And now we got to do a thing. Okay, the legs are gonna pivot around like this at the knees, like that, and then they're gonna close around the side there, like that. And you see there's a little peg here that's gonna plug into the hole in the bottom of the foot, and that just goes like that. And then you close up the feet here, which does a beautiful job. I mean, yeah, I love how that goes together. Look at that. That is an excellent transformation. Even those simple moves, it's nothing that we haven't seen done in other toys, but it's done really, really well here. And then we're going to straighten out the arms, and the shoulder slides. So let's just slide the shoulder forward. There's a double joint here. So we're going to pivot it down and then out, and then you can see that there's this little hole here, and that peg is going to align with that hole. So there we go. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Slide that together, do the double joint at the shoulder, and there we go. And then that's going to peg in. And now we can take the double-barreled gun here, and you see it's got these little pegs on the inside here. Well, those go into these little holes that are on the side of the front of the bulldozer. Now, this is where, okay, it's got this extra piece that works in the vehicle mode. And it does do a good job. I mean, it looks great. That looks great. That is a great little bulldozer. But here's what I'm just going to point this out. I could take this out. He still looks great. He looks better with the hydraulics, admittedly. But this is a completely serviceable bulldozer mode that works. It's convincing. There we go. Even without the extra piece. So that's where... So this is something that I kind of go on and you know, Brick will sometimes call me out saying, oh, you had this combiner and then you added your own pieces and you don't like extra pieces. And it's true that I tend not to like my combiners to need all these extra pieces. I bought upgrade kits for the Dinobots that make Volcanicus look great, but it's a crap ton of extra pieces. And they are designed to turn into weapons and extra things that you can add to the Dinobots, but it's a lot. It is a lot. And yeah, I would prefer that the extra pieces not be necessary in order to make that combined mode as awesome as it is. But, you know, the original combined mode was unimpressive. It was only okay, and a Dinobots combined mode should be awesome. So this is a case where you have this extra piece and it integrates into the transform, but if you don't have it there, it's still a bulldozer. And that's what I like to see. If you're going to have these extra pieces, give them a function, but don't make them like the Beast Wars reissue Megatron tail that becomes a gun, and if you don't have it, the dinosaur mode is missing half of his body. You know, that's where it's like, oh, come on, guys, you're just, you know, at that point, it's just kind of lazy design. You know, rather than deal with the geometry and figure out how to make all the pieces work together, it's like, oh, you know, we can get him to transform pretty good, and then you have this whole extra half of the creature or a third of the creature. Oh, we'll just make it a weapon. Not even a good weapon. You know, it wasn't even a good weapon. So yeah. Nonetheless, this is Wedge in his or Bone Crusher in his vehicle mode, and his vehicle mode does look great. I really like it. I love the windows. I love the treads. I love the colors. He's just a really nicely done, and admittedly a little bulldozer, but he's a good little bulldozer, and still bigger than the original Bone Crusher. Let's just pull out Bone Crusher. Well, okay, here, I'm gonna pull out one of the knockoffs because I don't want to pull the appendages off of the ones that I have sitting there. So this is a knockoff. This is full scale. And that is, in fact, oh, that's not a knockoff. That is one of the Generation 2 Bone Crushers. So that's a legitimate Bone Crusher. And then you have that. Okay, that is much, much bigger. Okay, if all of the original Constructicons had been around this size, I would have been more satisfied as a young child. But, so, yeah. So that is Bone Crusher from Transformers Universe 2003. I commonly lump these into the same category as car robots because really that's what it is. It's a straight up repaint. There's no retooling happening here. It's car robots build team as Constructicons, but with an origin story that lines up with the origin of at least the cartoon origin of the Constructicons. So maybe, you know, maybe that's, I'm willing to accept it. I'm willing to accept that they're Constructicons, like legit. So that is Bone Crusher. Now let's move on to Long Haul. And I think that Long Haul was originally Heavy Load. And I really like this guy. It's interesting that he's like down with Decepticons. Like that is, I'm pretty sure that if Megatron saw that, Long Haul here would get shot, and he would not get up from the shooting. that symbol would get some fusion cannon action, and there would be no spark remaining in this guy afterwards. His robot mode, you know, these guys are weird looking. They are very weird looking. They've got a ton of joints happening for the combined modes, and they've got kind of long skinny arms and then boxy features, and then they've got these paddle feet which are kind of weird and awkward looking. But I like them. And that's the thing. It is weird. I'm gonna go with you. If you're looking at this guy and you're like, that guy just looks weird. Like he doesn't have traditional proportions. If they were to make this character today, he would not look like this. He would have arguably more human proportions, more dynamic proportions. But I really, what he lacks in human dynamics, he makes up for in distinctiveness. Yet there is no confusing the silhouette of this character, except maybe with the silhouette of this character, who is also distinctly his own. So So yeah, he's weird, but he's also cool. He's got ball joints at the shoulders. He doesn't have great shoulder articulation because the boxiness kind of gets in the way of being able to kind of move his shoulder out, but he can still get into reasonably good poses. He's got knee joints. He's got ball joints at the hips. He's obviously got the most flexible and well-articulated feet of any Transformer in the line other than the other members of the build team. He's got a dumper on the back. You know, he's got his dumping pail on the back, and this comes off, and it has this feature. This is, you know, obviously these are carryovers from the build team. There's no new engineering happening here. No new features. So whatever the build team could do, these guys could do. They just do it in green and purple. And yes, I know I have to do the thing. Okay, I'll do the thing. Here we go. I'm doing the thing. And I'm gonna spill the thing on me and keep going because that's what I'm doing. But yeah, the Decepticon symbol bothers me, but it's also funny, so I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna accept it. Machiavellic says he looks like the Transformers equivalent of a bouncer. He does, and here, let me show you something else. Yeah, I agree with you, Machiavellic. He looks like a bouncer. He's the guy that is going to throw you out when you start grabbing people by the head and saying, "What were you thinking, Hasbro?" I'm not talking from personal experience, of course. But here you go. So you look at the face. Look at the face. And this is something that I always loved about Heavy Load. He's got a snark face. I mean, he is... I don't know what he's thinking, but he's got his cool shades, and he's got a grin. He is absolutely going to screw you up. That's it. He is gonna screw you up, and he's not gonna take any of your crap. So, you know, you say he's funny looking, he's just gonna smile at you and then pulverize you, then throw you in his pail and dump you out back. So that is him. Let's see, Kyoji says his upside down insignia is just taking a cue from Gen 1 Starscream, whose wing symbols were often drawn upside down when he was in robot mode. You know, maybe. And, you know, Starscream was always getting shot by Megatron, too. So, you would think that he would learn. Oh, I thought that you were sending me another message. Okay. Never mind. Nothing important is happening on the screen. Just so that you know, nothing important is happening on the screen. So, let's go ahead and turn him into a truck. He needs to turn into a truck. And so he's got a great transform. It's one that we will see reflected heavily in Hightower, but not quite enough. And we'll get to that next. We're going to flip the head down into the passenger compartment there. We are going to take the whole... So this rotates like that. You just rotate that sideways. And then you can take the whole pail. It's on this arm thing. And this is something that you just don't see in a lot of the other Transformers toys that have been made these days. They just don't have transforms that work like this. Very interesting. We're going to take the legs and with the heels, we're going to flip those up. And then we're going to take the paddle feet and we're just going to wrap them around the vehicle there. And then we're going to collapse the legs up like that and stick them together. And now we can take the shoulders and go down like that. Let's get that out of the way. There we go. So we got the shoulders down like that. We're going to flip up the fists and then fold those in next to the body. And then there's some... There's a little peg on the inside of the arms here, and then there's a little hole right there that it's going to peg into, and that's going to give us some alignment. And then from here, we swing the bucket around to the back. We make sure that the passenger compartment is facing sideways. And now we rotate the pail around and we put it like that. And then we just kind of tighten everything together. And boom, you have a truck. Now, admittedly, it's not very realistic. It's kind of chunky. The panels don't go together well. But it is very definitively a dump truck. There is no question of what this is or what it represents. It's got a working dumping pail, which is cool. I mean, it legitimately works. And it's just, yeah, I like it. It's big, it's blocky, but it is exactly what it's supposed to be. And personally, I think it looks good. My camera is not going to focus in, so we're going to go to the side camera here, and you can see in all of its glory, he looks great. He's weird looking, yes. He's not, he doesn't look like a realistic vehicle. He doesn't, he obviously, he's got robot bits showing, but I don't think that it hurts him. And so I really like this toy. I like him as a character. I like him in robot mode. I like him in dump truck mode. I like everything about him. And so he is really, really cool. I would have been perfectly happy with a long haul that looked like this back in the Gen 1 days, even though he's very obviously not a normal human-looking truck. But you know what? He could be from Cybertron. He could be hauling nuts and bolts in that. Or, the carcasses of his enemies. So there's always that stuff. So let's go ahead and set him aside. Machiavellic says, hey, Clay, if you had been the one to design Devastator, which color would you have made him to be? Well, if we're talking back in the Gen 1 days, I would have chosen yellow. Because when I was a kid, construction vehicles were yellow. But here's the thing. I would have been wrong. And this is something that I've touched on a bit when talking about how the GoBots, you look at GoBots, and it's really hard to tell just by looking at a GoBot. If you don't know anything else about the GoBot, it is almost impossible to tell which ones are the Guardians and which ones are the Renegades. There is no real common theme in color or in the style of the vehicles. There's, you got motorcycles that are good guy GoBots, motorcycles that are bad guy GoBots. You got good jets, bad jets, everything in between there, and the colors don't communicate allegiance. For whatever else we may say about the good and bad decisions that were made in Hasbro over the course of Gen 1, they understood color theory. They understood that even if you're going to have Starscream and he's going to be primarily red, his other color is going to be gray. Not white. It's going to be gray and kind of a dark blue. Keeping him, he's got some primary colors, but he's not overwhelmingly colorful. And then his two counterparts are going to be black and purple, and then dark blue and silver. Then likewise, you have Soundwave. He's blue, but it's a dark blue. It's not a bright, happy blue like you got with Pipes or with Skids. It was dark. And Megatron, he was silver. He was black. The Autobots, in turn, were reds. They were yellows. They were orange. They were bright primary and secondary colors because the people at Hasbro understood that those colors are familiar. They seem more friendly. And so they understood that if they were going to import this guy from Diaclone, who was originally either this color or maybe this color, they said, no, 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 no. These are bad guys now. They have to look bad. They're going to be green and purple. I'm big enough to admit when I would have been wrong. So, I was wrong back then. So, yeah. And I feel like I'm a better man for it. So now let's take a look at Hightower, who as an Autobot was named Hightower. Hightower, I like Hightower, but... So, let's go ahead and talk about the goods first. His robot mode is cool. Very, very similar engineering to that of long haul, aka heavy load. Just very, very similar transform. Similar articulation, similar body dynamics. He does not have the snark, though. His face is a little bit more stoic. He's like, I am not happy with the current situation. Whatever the current situation is, I do not approve. But, so he doesn't have the smirk. And I think that I know why he doesn't have the smirk. The reason he doesn't have the smirk is because when he transforms, you do this. There's his head. His head is part of the boom. This is now, for lack of a pilot, he is a headmaster. It's a headless body. I don't understand. I don't understand. They could have. I realize that there's no box on his chest, but they could have had the head fold into the chest here, or put a box on his chest. It's okay. The original Hook, which was also a boom truck, had 2 passenger compartments, one in the front and one in the back. One to drive the vehicle and one to operate the boom. So they could have had an extra little thing exactly like what they did here and not have the need to have his head come off. If I take off heavy load, aka long haul's pail, he is still a truck. He's still a truck. He's a weird looking truck. He's obviously missing something, but his vehicle mode is still not compromised. He's got 4 tires, he's got a front end, a back end, a passenger compartment. He's still a fully functional truck. And I have seen enough trucks that had the beds removed to know that this is a thing. So heavy load, or Hightower here, if he had another passenger compartment, problem solved. But now, if this isn't there, he's a chassis. He transforms into a chassis. Joy says, Hightower was also a character in the Police Academy movies, and Grayscale is here! A toast to Grayscale and a toast to Joy. You are correct, Joy. Hightower was in the Police Academy. I haven't thought about those movies in years, but boy, they had a great theme. Da 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 da. I mean, it was a good theme. And then, you know, at the ends of the movies, all of the cops that didn't know what they were doing would beat up the bad guys in comedic fashion. Those were fun. We should revisit those, although they probably don't hold up well over time. So anyway, hello Grayscale, welcome to the live stream. We're talking about the body of Hightower. And so here, let me go ahead and transform this part of him. It's not hard to figure out because the rest of him is exactly the same as we did with Heavy Load, aka Long Haul. I know I keep using the names of the build team interchangeably with the Constructicons. It's hard for me to divorce them from each other, especially since by the story they are the same characters. There is a little bit of a difference here. He's got these panels on the side which overlap the arms. So in order to transform him properly, you have to do the arms first. Whereas in the other ones, the arms are the last step. You have to do the upper body first and then slide everything together. And I will say that when he transforms into a truck chassis, his truck chassis looks good. The overlapping panels really help to conceal some of those robot bits. He's very, very solid. It's a shame there's no passenger compartment on there, or this would actually be a fully functional vehicle. Instead, it's just a rectangle with wheels on it. And then you take this, you fold the head, well, you spin the head around, and then you fold it into the back here. You collapse this gun, and then you have the hook right there. And now you can take this, and you can plug it right in there, and that is his vehicle mode. And see, they've got these details here which keep this from being able to rotate. I guess you could do, well, you could kind of do that and have it up and then it can rotate, or you just have to kind of, you know, sort of, when you want to use it like a boom truck, you just do that. And then that's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. It is just funny that they have those details in there that very specifically prevent it from being able to have the play feature that would be there if not for those little molded in details. I guess they felt like it was more important that this face forward, he's, you know, and this vehicle mode is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, except that you have to pull the head off the robot in order to get there. So yeah, that is, here, let's go ahead and take a look on the side cam. That is Hightower, and that's the thing. He's otherwise not really a parts former. Yes, I know that things like the booms and the pails and for the dump truck and stuff, they come off to become weapons, and they can become pieces for the combined robot mode, but they don't need to come off for the robot modes unless you want them to, and so he doesn't need to be a parts former. It's like they got 95% of the way there, and then they just, no, you go away, back, here, have a drink, there you go, there you go, okay, better. You're gonna bite me, aren't you? Okay. Later? I love you, Ashy Slashy. I fear Ashy Slashy. So, no! Retrobot, why didn't you warn me? So this is Hightower. Now, this is where of course I've had my own build team for a while, and I have done some embellishments. So this is my Hightower, and these are some extra shovels that I made because I wanted my landfill to have more hand than what he has, and you'll see that. So you can just ignore those. You don't that's not really important for this discussion, and we'll take off that extra piece there. So this is what I've done, and it sits really high up here. I've taken an extra wide load body, and I've merged it with some Hightower parts, and I have created a Hightower that transforms like wide load. And so here, we're just going to do this real quick. Pull out the feet. There we go. Because you got to have the flappy feet. Flappy feet are important. Pull out the heel. There we go. Okay, and so here's where things get different. This version does this maneuver. And then the boom goes around the back, just like the pail does in heavy load. And then we straighten that out, and you see I painted a little detail there. And now we've got Hightower's face. And so now, you see, I don't have to take off the head to transform him. And it's all just by adding an extra little passenger compartment. And here, you can take a look. He still works. Yes, I will openly admit that that in vehicle mode, that boom is kind of raised up on top of that thing. But to be honest, it doesn't bother me. I prefer that to having to take off the head in order to transform him. And so that is just one little thing that I did because I can't leave well enough alone, and I have to do stuff to my toys. And honestly, if the worst thing that I do to my Transformers toys is take them apart and kit bash them, then I feel like that I'm ahead of the game. No implications there. You do you. But so yeah, I'll turn them back into a truck. And it's funny because I took the arms and the legs off of Hightower as well. So I got the head, the arms, and the legs of Hightower, and then the body from and this thing from heavy load. And because they are so very, very similar, it, for the most part, just worked. There's a few subtle things that don't quite line up as well. But for the most part, yeah, it works. And, now, and see, what that also gives me is a fully functional boom. You see, now this rotates around, and so it functions just like the boom truck. So that's, to me, that's a win-win-win. And that is something that I did. Does it look like a realistic human vehicle? No. Does this look like a realistic human vehicle? Let's face it, no. And so I'm okay with this. And so I just thought I'd show you what I do to my toys, because and I have made the decision not to screw around with my Devastator too much. I have made a few little embellishments here and there with things I just couldn't live with, or when I was a little bit less devoted to the purity. But nonetheless, that is Hightower, and in all of his goodness, badness, and in-betweenness. And that brings us to Grimlock. Well, Scavenger. Scavenger is the repainted form of Grimlock. That is him. I have done some minor kit bashing on him. Originally, his little flappy thing. He's got claws. So he's got claw hands. I don't know why, but he has claw hands. And originally, they were jointed in such a way that they actually only kind of hung, like they only went opposite the other, like it was something like that. I don't remember. It was awkward. And I added, so I sliced out a little bit to give him full articulation on this ball joint, which does work to give him more motion. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I kind of regret it because it has made this ball joint very weak, and even adding glue to it has not been able to tighten it up and make it function, and his arm pops off a lot. So, we lost feed for a moment. Okay, well, that sucks. How long? Just a moment? Okay, well, that is unfortunate. According to YouTube Studio, we have excellent connection. Don't screw with me, Verizon. So, we got Fios. We shouldn't have these problems with Fios. I hate you, Verizon. Just letting you know. I hate you. So, anyway, Grimlock, aka Scavenger, is a weird guy. He's got awkward, oddly jointed arms with claw hands and he's got posability. He's got articulation points all over the place, but he's gangly and it's hard to get him to hold a pose. And his legs just kind of, because of this whole thing, which is a lot more robust because of the blockiness of the other characters, for him, his legs just kind of go all over the place. He's just weird. He is, and not necessarily weird in a good way. And this is, okay, so next week, not quite a week from today, we are going to do a Thanksgiving live stream. And if you're stuck at home and you're not getting to see your loved ones for Thanksgiving, because I know that there's a lot of scary things happening right now, then this live stream is for you. We're just going to get together and we're going to talk about Transformer turkeys. This is an example of a Transformers turkey. A guy that's just not right. And here is a sneak preview of one of the guys that we will be featuring during this live stream. His name is Silverbolt. And if you're thinking, hey, does he have a pseudo-robot head coming out his sphincter? Why, yes. It is possible that the mouth is the sphincter. I'm not sure of the biology of that, but whatever it is, yes. Oh God, I would want mouthwash after that. So yeah, we're going to be talking about some of the guys that are the turkeys of the Transformers world. So yeah, and that is on Thanksgiving Day. That is on Thursday, and you're thinking around 5-ish, because everybody eats at 2 or 3. So yeah, okay. So we'll probably do it around 5-ish. We'll post. Watch our Instagram and Twitter. Watch our Twitter. Twitter has information. Instagram just has pictures. So I know the internet. I'm good at it. So we've got Grimlock here, and his weird arms that I flipped around the creepy claw hands, and we're going to turn him into an excavator because he's much better as an excavator than he is as a robot. I mean, it's like the robot mode is so close to being something that works, but it just doesn't. And seeing it doesn't quite do it justice. You have to get your hands on one, which I don't recommend because then you'd have to pay money for it. But it's just so, it never wants to do what you want it to do. And that's the problem. So anyway, we're gonna rotate the lower legs and turn them into turrets. We're gonna close up the heels and flip up the feet, and then we're gonna do the splits here because he's got like a million articulated bits in here for his transforms. We're going to fold the head forward like that, and then we're going to do, let's see. So this, actually, we're going to flip up the shoulders, okay? Keep the head where it is. Open the little doors on the shoulders. Rotate the arms this way. Okay, I'm going to try and do this without the arm falling off, and it's going to fall off. But there we go. So you're going to rotate the arms that way, and then we're going to fold in the claw hand, and my claw hands are backwards. I took them out and flipped them around because when he had his thumbs on the underside, I mean that, oh my gosh, what were they thinking? I don't understand. But it also makes it harder to grab onto them when you're transforming him back into a robot, which I don't recommend anyway. But every now and then you just kind of want to, because you want to believe that he's better than you remember, and you're wrong. So yeah, we're gonna flip in the oh wait, this one, the claw goes back that way, and that's fine. It's a little weird, but it's fine. And then we're going to take the biceps and we're going to close them. You see you've got a peg here and a hole here. They are going to close together like that. And then the head can fold in and the doors can close. And now here you're going to rotate this up and close it against there. And then you're going to rotate this one around and close it against there, and now you can take the treads and spread them all the way back, and there's this little rectangular tab here and a little rectangular hole there. You're going to get them to tab in like that, and so now you've got this, and now the whole thing swings around like that. And now we've got this little apparatus. So you want this peg to be towards the body, and you want this to form a little T, and you're going to collapse that against the underside just like that. And so now I was wrong. And I'll tell you, not about the transform, but that you want to turn him into an excavator. And here's why. Let me finish this. So let's, we've got this piece, and there's this little hinge piece right here, and it does go into other positions, but it's a little sticky. And then there's a hole in the middle, and you just plug that in there. Okay, so this vehicle mode looks great. It does. It looks great. I don't understand why it's purple, but it is. And let's go ahead and go to the other camera. So that is the excavator mode. And you see you've got rotation here. So you've got excavator playability, and you've got a shovel that goes, and you got that, and this rotates, and that's cool. And so that that seems like a great alt mode. But you've also got these freaking leg things that have a million joints in them that just don't want to stay in place. And they're constantly just kind of rocking around and collapsing, and it's wonky. He is wonky, and no amount of trying to tighten up the joints will fix it, because everything is on all these little multifaceted little pieces that all create all of these tiny places, these opportunities for things to misalign and for things to shift. It's bad. It's just bad. It stops it from being fun, because every time you touch him, his treads are going in goofy directions, and then you turn him into a robot because you don't want to deal with the treads anymore, and his legs are going into goofy directions, and you can't get the arms to go into a position that looks natural or is in any way cool, and he's just bad. He's just bad. Have I mentioned this toy is bad? It's the opposite of good. It's not good. I'm going to say the word green now so that I can have alcohol. Green. Oh, I said it twice. Grimlock will not be appearing in the Thanksgiving special, but it's going to be some stuff like this. So yeah, these are the Decepticons who form the universe version of Devastator, and he was I think it was a Target exclusive, and I guess I think that I had to buy 2 separate packs that had 2 characters apiece in them in order to get all of the characters. And even with the problems with Grimlock, I love this set. I think that it's really distinctive and really interesting. But boy, Grimlock sucks. It's so... And so I'm just going to show you.
Whatever.
So what I did, because I could not. I just couldn't deal with it. Grimlock was a loss, and so. Did I mention that I got on eBay and I got some extra build team parts and some guy. Well, this is my Grimlock, and he is made out of some pieces. You know, he's largely once again made out of heavy load, but he's got Grimlock pieces on him enough to give him an excavator, which is on the back side of the vehicle. He no longer has those horrible tread legs. I did away with that. I did away with the ability for it to rotate around. I just said screw that. Instead, I went with a vehicle that has an excavator on the back and a passenger compartment here. And this is actually made from a lot of the pieces that I took out of my, like some of the leftover pieces that I had from when I did this one. And so I'm going to show you how he transforms. It's not exactly a mystery because, it's pretty much the same as the other guys. We're going to pull out the arms and get them out of the way. We're going to pull out the legs. We're going to set out the flappy feet. And see, my version, this is just kibble. It's just extra kibble. I don't care because because he's already a chunky guy. So having a little bit of extra chunkiness on his legs really doesn't bother me. And then we can bend at the knees, if we please. And you can flip down the arms and flip out the hands. And now the head is on this piece right here, which is made from some translucent blue Lego pieces, or maybe build like Creo pieces, not sure. And then I've got the Grimlock head there. And so he's got the canopy and his chest, and he still has Grimlock's face. And now, here, let's take a look at the side camera. Now, he is a fully functioning robot with legs that he can stand on. And hands. He's got hands. Look at that. And he's got kind of a stabby detail on his chest that I'm just going to ignore. And of course there's this thing which you can stick in the hole in the back if you so choose, or you can use it as a claw weapon because it has this thing, so he can also do that. But that is my Grimlock. And I realize that, I mean, we have gone from something that actually, in this case... Okay, see, notice that as soon as I picked him up, it did this. I wasn't trying to do this for demonstration purposes. I'm just letting you know. Honestly, I'm not trying to make it look bad. It just is. So, here, okay, so we have something that... Oh my gosh. We have a toy that in this case really does look like a human-style construction vehicle. I mean, this, except for the crazy colors, it looks pretty much spot on. This is, but it sucks. And so, yeah, I sacrificed having a vehicle mode that looked like this so that I could have a toy that isn't crap. I'm sorry, Scavenger, but you're bad. You're just so bad. Oh my gosh. Just in so many... Oh, I know. I keep saying it. And I wish it weren't true because I love this set, but boy, he's awful. Oh, just... Oh, ah. So that gets us, okay, that gets us these guys, but of course, the reason why we're here, the title of the live stream is Devastator, and these guys do form Devastator. And, so a lot of times, I guess I'm going to go for the most traditional, incarnation, even though it's, you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and let's start just by taking off some of these extra accoutrements, because you don't really need them to be there for Devastator. And then let's take our truck chassis here, and we are going to fold out the flappy feet. And then we're going to take out the appendage, which, you know, you can decide for yourselves what that appendage is. There we go. And, you know, if you want, I see it a lot where they, you know, give it like a foot, right, like that. In fact, a lot of times they'll do it on both sides, which is completely unnecessary because the feet are massive. You know, the feet on this combined robot are absolutely massive. It's not like he needs additional stabilization, but, you know, this at least gives him a larger flappy foot. And, you know, I make fun, but understand that I really do like this guy. I guess I'm a bit of a jerk, but so I'm gonna pull out this one, and we're gonna turn it that way, and Dudley is once again not happy at me talking to you so much. Poor cat. Okay, now I kind of wish that the clickiness on these would kind of get them. There we go. So that's not so bad. Okay, so we've got those like that, and now we're gonna take Scavenger here, and we're going to pull out this thing. And I very rarely use Scavenger as the upper torso because I don't like how the treads turn into arms. But I'm going to do it because that's the way that this set is usually shown. But you'll have to bear with me because I don't exactly remember what you're supposed to do here. I think that it's like this. And I think that these can just stay here, maybe. We'll try and. Okay, so we're going to spread that out like that, and then we're going to extend the leg, and we're going to split the feet. And you can do that too, and I guess that's supposed to be like a sort of claw hand. And then we're going to rotate that and bend at the elbow and give him another sort of claw hand thing. And then we're going to take this, and I think that we're going to do that. I think that that's how this is going to go. Although, wait here, let me flip this around like that. And now we'll just combine all three of those. And see, I think that this is really, really cool. That's very interesting. Whoever came up with that, I have to tip my hat to them because it's such a unique way of making a combiner go together. And it's something that I have never seen on any of the other toys. Yeah, especially the whole using 4 guys to make a combined robot mode is already very distinctive, but that kind of puts it over the top. So now we've got Bone Crusher here. I'm going to slide him back just a little bit so that we have some room. Poor cat, he is so upset. And we're going to, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and transform this the way that they usually show it. I tend to have mine where these are to the sides and then the shovels are up. But usually when you see pictures of this guy, you have these out like this. And then we open the door here and we reveal the head. Now I did do a little bit of a kit bash here to give him a Devastator visor rather than 2 individual eyeballs. I just liked it better. And then we take this little detail here. Now, you can use it as sort of a cod piece, or you can have it as a chest accent. It works either way, and I'm not sure that one is really all that much better than the other. So I'm gonna at least start it out here, just like that. And if I can get that into the little hole, there we go. There we go. So. And now we've got this, and this little peg with these little notches goes into the hole. Oh, wait, here, I have my hole backwards. That's no good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. There we go. And now I'll flip down those wheels and flip up the ones in the back. So there we go. Okay, no harm, no foul. So
this is going to plug into this hole created by the combination of these 3 connector ports. And you put it in at an angle, and then you give him a twist, and that locks him in. And now we have these little pegs on the back here. It's hard to see, but there's one right there, and then there's that hole, and we got to get those to line up. And so, okay, so what I'm noticing is that this is really, the arm things are in the way. So I'm going to have to get those out of the way. And we'll do that. There we go. And I'll just do that. And then there, that's going to be like that. Okay, and now let's see if... Oh, okay, so I think that what's going to happen, actually... Let's... These... Gosh, this is so fiddly. So this peg right here, instead of using these 2 holes, we're going to use this one to plug into the back there. And then that is going to go together like that. And then that is going to go in there like that. There we go. And now we have that, and then if you so choose, you could leave these things on the sides here if you wanted, or you could, you know, give him like a clampy weapon. There we go. So he's got a clampy weapon there, and he's got a claw weapon, which you can put here. And there are a lot of different options for how you do the weapons. As you can take this off, and you might be able to do. So we can even do something like this. Oh, will that do it? Come on, do it. Do it. You know you want to do it. Maybe he doesn't do it that way. And so, yeah, you can do something like that and give him a cannon over his head. So that is one of the ways that you can combine him. So this is where things are, I have conflicting opinions about this. On one hand, he's pretty much fully articulated, and he's got lots of cool weapons, and I didn't have to take any extra pieces off of, there were no additional pieces that don't get used in other modes to create a super robot mode, and that's really impressive. Even the with the fact that he doesn't have actual robot hands, but he can hold all of his weapons, so they're still functional. He is awkward looking, definitely awkward looking, but he's still very much a robot. I don't like using Grimlock for the upper body because you end up with these skinny little arms. And I just don't like how that looks. He's got these huge blocky legs and then these skinny little knobby arms.
And you can use Grimlock as a foot. I mean, any of the characters, any of the other characters other than Bone Crusher can be used in any position. But because Grimlock is so unstable, when you use him as a leg, he just wants to collapse. The whole thing wants to collapse under his own weight. And once again, it's a testament to the fact that in this, out of all the characters in this set, Grimlock just sucks. It's just so bad. So yeah, we've got Landfill Devastator, and I do like this toy. For all my bitching, let me just say that I actually really, really love this whole set, and I love this team, and I love this concept, and I would love to see it revisited again if Hasbro wanted to do it in a little bit more of a Combiner Wars fashion, but still manage to pull off a cool 4-person combiner or 4-character combiner. I think that there's a lot of interesting stuff happening with this toy. And certainly after you have your Gen 1 Devastator, who, it takes 6 guys, and you end up with, let me just switch how I'm holding these things so that you can actually see what I'm talking about. So when you have, this is what we grew up on, and I loved him. You probably loved him too. He's awesome, but I was still disappointed. I'm sorry, I was disappointed. The individual characters are just so small. And you get these toys and they're almost entirely plastic, and they feel light, and they just, you don't have Bone Crusher squaring off against Hoist or even Trailbreaker, because they were bigger and beefier, and they just didn't seem like they really were in the same universe. And then you put together Devastator, and you're having to imagine hard that he's the menace that you've been promised. And so you get this guy, and he's only 4 characters, but they're bigger, and they're blockier, and they're tougher, and he ends up making a combined form that is a little bit bigger, but definitely huskier. So, it's a good attempt. Is it a replacement for Gen 1? No, it's not. But I'm glad to have it, and he's fun, and he's cool. Let me go ahead. I hope nobody minds too much, but let me go ahead and just, I'm going to try to real quick put together my build team, because of the different embellishments that I've made on those guys, and just demonstrate a little bit of the difference, because of some of the stuff that I've done that are different. I'm using words, and I'm using them well. So I'm gonna transform Grimlock, and in this case I am gonna have Grimlock be the upper torso, and we're gonna spread that out like that. And I'll just tell you right now, he makes a much better upper torso. I'm just telling you, it's going to be better. I don't remember how far along I was on this kit bash the last time that I showed it, because I feel like there are a few little changes that I've made. that I like. Obviously, I like them because I did them. Well, that's not always the case, because sometimes I do this stuff and I think, oh, that did not work. And that's one of the dangers of when you screw around with your toys, is that you're going to do something that irrevocably screws up the toy. So yeah, I'm gonna. Here we go. Turn him into something, and we're gonna pull that out. And we're going to flip around the thingy, and we're going to do another flippy around the thingy. And so we've got that like that. And I also created these little feet pieces, which do stick onto the vehicle modes and stick onto the robot modes. They don't really add anything. They're just there. They just look like parts of the vehicle, and that's something that I pulled off earlier. You can see how, like, there's one of the feet in truck mode, and it's just an extra bit of truck that doesn't make it look less like a truck. It doesn't really make it look more like a truck, but it means that he has robot feet. So and I like him having robot feet. So we're gonna do a little bit of stuff right here, and he's going to go like that, and like that, and then like that, and like that, and then once again I'm gonna take this thing and I'm gonna go up like that. And that, see, I do that because it gives me an extra attachment point if I want to put a weapon here on the leg, and it also helps to create the illusion of a thicker thigh, which is something that the combined mode of landfill desperately needs. And then that just goes in there like that, and we've got another foot. And I'm going to take these arms and I'm going to just get them back out of the way as much as possible. Actually, I'm going to put these arms up like that. So, and see, that's the thing, because these guys are so interchangeable. If you have an extra heavy load, then you can make a great combined form, and that's obviously what I did here. Let me make sure that I've got, yeah, okay, all right. So, just making sure that things are lined up correctly, and so we take these two and we click them together like that, and let me do a little thing right there. There we go, like that, and then we're going to put in this one and link it together there, and you know, even that right there, it's so cool, right? Come on, that is just so cool. And I'll set those aside, and now I'll take Wedge, and this time it actually is Wedge, and we'll transform him the way that I prefer to transform them, because I can. And we'll take his little shovel thing and flip it around so that it can become a chest accent. Dudley is still angry. Poor kitty. Am I not paying enough attention to you? Yeah. Did you hear that? He's like, yeah. That's exactly the problem. Shut up and let me on your lap and pet me and maybe feed me. So there we go. We've got landfill in his landfillness, and now, actually, here, let me get these out of the way, and now we're going to do that, and now this time we can use those two little posts that line up with the two little holes. There we go, and now I can plug these into the little holes that I added.
And put the shovels up in the air, flip the head back, and bring the arms forward so that he has landfill arms. We're almost there. We are almost there. And now what I did was I added a little slot to the back of this that clips over the shoulder. There we go. Just like that. And I lost a foot. I'm going to pick up the foot. Put the foot back on. Foot's important. So here we got a foot, and then we'll just put it back in here like that somehow. There we go. And then I also added a little clip here made out of a piece of ABS, and that will clip around the other shoulder. And then, oh, let me get these out of the way. Oh. Straighten out there. There we go. There we go. And that clips on just like that. And let me go ahead and put it on the other camera so we can show these guys side by side. Oh. And oh, my little Clippy is having problems. Let's hope that my little Clippy survives long enough for you to see it. And now those little shovel pieces that I showed you before, they just plug in right here. And I know you can't see what I'm doing. I guess I should change camera angles. So we do that, and then we do that, and we can take this thing off of here, and you can even add it as a gun. I always really liked this feature too. That's really cool that does that. Just saying. It's cool. It's cool! And there we go. And that is landfill in all of his glory. That clip is just not holding up very well. So that is landfill versus, landfill with a lot of embellishments versus Universe Devastator. And then there's original Devastator, who really wants to lose his chest piece. So we'll kind of put him over here, and there we go. We've got a Devastator there, and a landfill right there, and then a Devastator here. And we'll try and arrange these guys. So that's what we got. And I look at these guys, and it's like,
so close. So close. But it still just doesn't quite scratch that ultimate Devastator itch. And I guess that's really the point of all of this nonsense that we've been going through, showing where we started, and then where we went to, and then where I've gone to try and have a really awesome construction combiner. And as you can see, I'll go pretty far. But the good news is that Hasbro was not done trying. And that is where we will leave it until next time for part 2 of Devastator, or Constructicons, or whatever mishmash you want to say about any of those guys. Bottom line, Devastator's great, but he's just not, he doesn't fulfill the promise. I think that's really what it comes down to. We were made a promise with Devastator. The cartoon incarnation, the comic books, Devastator was presented as this. And what we got was only this. And for people like me, we spent many, many years wanting what we were promised. And we didn't get it until much later. But there's more journey, and we're going to do that in the future and we haven't figured out when the next Devastator live stream will be, but we do these series and we kind of fill in as need be. So next week we're going to have a Thanksgiving live stream where we talk about Transformer turkeys. Yeah, we've got Mr. Poops Out His Mouth, and and more guys that just I don't know what they were thinking, but we'll talk about them, hopefully with full bellies and probably wine, I'm guessing. Also, the day on Friday, next Friday, 1 week from today. Yes, I knew. We are doing our special Black Friday, and we're going to talk about Black Primes. That's right. It's a Black Prime Day live stream on the Retrobot channel, all about black versions of Optimus Prime. It's going to be amazing. So, with all of that being said, thank you so much, everybody, for sticking with me on this one. This had its high points and its low points, and I've had a lot of fun showing you my toys. So, thank you so much, Kyoji. Thank you, Brick. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Machiavellic. Thank you, Collini. Thank you, Brandon Spicer. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Amanda. Did we even say hi to Amanda? Okay, if not, a toast to Amanda. And thank you, Michael Spicer. Thank you, Go Andy Robo. Thank you, Soren. Oh, Soren, of course. Thank you, Soren. Thank you, Coley D. Thank you, Christopher Remley. Thank you, Tim Kangaroo. And thank you, Grayscale. You guys are awesome. The fact that you show up for these things is touching to me, and it means everything. If you like these live streams, please click the thumbs up buttons, because that really helps us tell YouTube that maybe they should show these videos to people, which we would like them to do. Also, tell other people about us. If you like what we're doing, if you have fun with these, then I'm gonna shamelessly ask you to go ahead and tell your friends, tell people online and in forums. Do people use forums? I don't know. Internet stuff. Do internet stuff because we want to grow and we like having lots of people that have fun with the channel. So with that being said, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Have a great night. And thank you once again for showing up. You guys are awesome. Thank you again.